You practiced.
But then it goes live and I get confused.
You're
Like it's
faking it really good.
maple syrup show time. Okay, welcome. It's the maple syrup show time at a very special and kind of late hour. I know. So some of the people who are here regularly may not be here because it's past their bedtimes, because they're babies who need to go to bed early. I'm kidding. It's
And
fine.
usually I'm one
You
of
need
those
to sleep.
babies.
You go to sleep. That's okay. Yeah. Normally Erica's like, "Are we done yet? Because I gotta go to bed." Even when she's not teaching, she's still doing that. So
I
hey, we've got.
have children.
I know, right? My children just happen to be older and
Yeah,
happen to
you're
get
just
up on
gonna
their
take care
own.
of themselves.
Yeah, they can like feed themselves. They don't. They can bathe themselves. They don't. They don't.
But these
Yeah,
are good choices that they've made.
they need to be
Life
told to do a
choices,
lot
but
of things
choices.
still. I mean, hopefully Ethan doesn't because he's all by himself in Toronto, and hopefully he's doing all those things by himself now. But Eli still needs to be reminded. Hey, you smell. Go take a shower. Uh, anyway, enough about my kid's body odor. Let's chat about what we're here to talk about today, which is welcome to Beneeta Reina. Nice to see you.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for having me
Yay!
on.
No problem. And today's show is really about media, like this new frontier in media, specifically in tabletop, like and specifically in board and card. Because if you said tabletop and you're including RPGs, and RPGs have been using Twitch and things like that for a lot
Mhm.
longer for a lot different effect. But these two fine young ladies here are leading the way in terms of how board games are being accessed or seen, made visible through those two platforms, specifically TikTok and Twitch. And so that's what we're here to talk about tonight. What do you think of that, Erica? Is this going to be fun or what?
Oh no, this is like a question that I purposely put out on Twitter just a few days ago because it is amazing to see what the idea of these almost like sound bites for games is just such an amazing
Mm-hmm.
concept to me. And I love what people are doing with it. And I feel like
Oh, yeah.
there is going to be a snowball of it because it is such a different medium from saying just a picture of Instagram or let's say like more traditional, let's say like a YouTuber or something like that. There's these
Mm-hmm.
fun middle grounds that like, people maybe have been experimenting for Twitch for a while with games, but I like what's going on in general with like just the media, how people are playing with it.
I think it's really fascinating, and I don't understand it because, like I said before the show started, I am old, so I don't really understand it. But I think some of it's super hilarious, and then I think some of it's really weird. So let's talk about the hilarious and the weird together. Welcome to Benita and Reina. Let's ask about their origin stories. How did you get started in board gaming, first of all? And then why did you decide to get into making content and media about it? Let's start with Reina. Reina, how did you start board gaming? Why did you start board gaming? And then why did you start making like 1 minute little snippet videos?
Sure. I grew up playing a lot of board games, the classics like Monopoly and Sorry and chess, but I didn't get into hobby board gaming until I started dating my current partner, Phil, who is like kind of right there in cartoon form.
Yeah, in cartoon form. Hi,
Yeah.
Phil.
He says hi too. So we started dating about 3 years ago, and then he had been into hobby board gaming for long before that. So, naturally, when you introduce someone important into your life, you want to introduce your hobbies to them as well. And luckily for both of us, I really loved it. And so we've been doing it ever since.
That is how good relationships
Yeah.
work.
Yes. And as far as when I started content creation, I think one of my main motivations was I have a really short attention span. Like I really struggle watching even like 5 to 6 minute reviews. And it sucks because I really want to learn about all these new games, but I just really don't have the capacity to learn about them in the format that was available at the time. And then, mid pandemic, I downloaded TikTok as everyone my age was doing. And then I just noticed, like, oh, I haven't really seen any board game content on TikTok. Like, maybe I'll just mess around and start making stuff like that. And then TikTok at the time had a limit of 1 minute. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to make this my brand then, 1 minute board games. And then it's just been crazy ever since.
There you go. And what about you, Benita? What got you started in hobby gaming first and then in media second?
I think 2017, my friend was dating someone who's now her husband who was into board games. And so, she would mention, yeah, I'm going to a board game convention. I was just like, what the hell is a board game convention? But I grew up playing like Scrabble. Like I grew up playing Scrabble, Sorry, like games like that. So I've always loved board games. And then for her birthday one year in 2017, I remember it so vividly because it wasn't that long ago. We went to a board game cafe and we played Small Worlds. And I'm like, whoa, this is modern board gaming. And I fell in love with it. And my birthday was a few months later. And we went to a board game bar and I played Carcassonne. And then I watched Supergirl and they were playing Catan. So
Oh,
those
right.
were my
That's right.
three.
Yes.
Those were my three first board games. And then I just kind
So,
of like
so
really fell
Supergirl
into it.
got you into board gaming. Awesome.
I like that also you end up having like two of like the absolute classics, but one of them because you saw it on a TV show.
I
Like a lot of
know.
people, the Carcassonne and Catans, I don't know how, but they managed to get everybody into
Yeah.
Euros. Like,
And the thing is, I didn't know that it was Catan, and Supergirl never mentioned it. So I Googled Supergirl board game night and like, the
Oh,
episode
awesome.
and
Nice.
everything, and obviously nothing came up. So then I went back to my TV, like the recordings, DVR was a thing. I took a picture and I sent it to my friend. I'm like, what is this game? And she's
I
like,
love it.
it's Catan. Because I
That's
had no
awesome.
idea.
I love it.
That's actually an amazing product placement when you think about it, that it actually got you interested in the game.
Because it was so
Very cool.
colorful, right? And
Yeah.
it was so like blue and everything. But I mean, it's okay product placement because maybe you put the box cover or something so I knew what the name was.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, it was more a casual prop, but at the
Yeah.
same time, you're like, no, I actually
I
want
want
to know what that was.
this is. Yeah. So I started buying a lot of board games and my friends and family stopped playing with me. So I reached
That sounds so familiar.
So I joined a analog women's gaming group, and that's how I met Anna Maria, who is she was a editor of Girls Game Shelf, and she just invited me to a game night, and I'm like, you know what? I texted my friends. This is where the address. If I died, this is where I was murdered. But
Murdered by meeples.
Exactly. And so we clicked, and so I've been trying new games with her, and she was the one who actually was like, hey, do you want to write for Girls' Game Shelf? Because every time we would have game nights, we would like super dissect every game that we played, right? It was just very natural. She's like, well, you're already kind of like doing these reviews. Do you want to write for GGS? And I'm like, okay. So that's kind of how I started doing content. And then we started a Twitch channel during the pandemic. And then when GGS ended, I decided to start my own Twitch channel in January. And that's what I've been doing since January.
Very cool. We actually have a question, and it auto popped up. Yes, our
Yay!
auto bot thingy is working. It's just in beta. We have no clue how it really works. But Zach Connolly, our good friend
We
Zach,
guess
asked,
there's trigger words. We're
Yeah.
watching to see what they might be.
question mark. What is your goal when creating content? Is it to help market a game? Is it to give your input on it, or something else entirely? We'll start with Raina. What is your goal when you're creating content?
My goal is to help people discover board games, or help people get interested in board games, because obviously you might not know from a minute if you want to buy this game, or maybe you do, but it's just to help people discover new games for sure.
It's almost like shopping. Like it kind of is its own form of that, because it's enough to get an impression. Like this is what book covers do for a reason, right?
Mhm.
We say don't judge it by cover. We totally do, but
We totally
you need
do.
that. Like, oh, those bits are neat. Oh, it's almost like the video of like what you want a Kickstarter page to be.
Mhm, exactly.
Yeah, maybe. So what about you, Beneeta? What's your goal when creating content?
Oh, well, I usually did it because I wanted to play games with my friends, and I'm like, well, let's stream it. And my content has gone through iterations, but now it's just A, I really enjoy playing games. B, I really enjoy streaming. I discovered a passion for it that I didn't think I would have. I just like talking to chat. I like playing the games. I like talking to my guests. I also do think it is a great marketing tool because of how interactive Twitch is. And,
Right.
oftentimes I'm playing with the designer, and like people in chat can ask the designer questions in real time, which is so rare. I think that's like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, and
I
while
think
you're
it's both.
playing too, because a lot of the way it's usually done is like we're having an interview with this designer, as opposed
Yeah.
to, hey, we're playing the game. You can watch us
Yeah.
play it, and you can
It's
kind
more
of get that
casual.
feel. Yeah, very cool. We have a
That's where you get
couple.
the
We have a
good
lot of questions
stories
actually.
too.
Yeah. The best stories come out as you're playing.
The fun things that come out are you're like, oh yeah, when I was doing this,
Yeah.
all these things happen. You're like, okay.
So Pauline Fate Kong says hi to my favorite content creators. Pauline Fate Kong is one of the brainiacs behind the dim sum game coming out Steam Up,
Steam Up
which will be launching, I guess, someday soon.
in
I hope.
October. I
Yeah.
I
know
was gonna say I
because
saw the
we're going to be
pre-launch.
streaming it in October
Yeah,
together.
that's right.
Nice.
And
Probably
it is.
sign up for notifications.
It's gonna just destroy. It's gonna be so good.
It's going
I
to be
have
so
I have
good.
every finger crossed here, Pauline. I can't do it, but if I could, I would cross every finger because I have such high hopes for this product. And looking forward to playing it. Looking forward to seeing it. Looking forward to like having other people, just realize how cool games can be, and that's one of the ones that is really cool. Adam Young is asking for all the Twitch channels and profile links in the chat. We'll have them up for you, Adam, at the end of the show, but we can, type them in as we go. So let's see. Actually, you know what? I'll just show you them right now because that is what I'm going to do. This is one of them. Twitch.tv/Beneeta_K. And then if you look for at 1 Minute Board Games, you can definitely find at 1 Minute Board Games on Insta, YouTube, TikTok. Okay, perfect. Now back to the questions. We have a question from Tim Brown. Tim Brown says, hey, can you guys explain the differences between the different platforms like TikTok versus YouTube? And he's got a second thing here. He's got an ulterior motive. And the uses for each with respect to board games. That's a great question, Tim. So starting with Beneeta,
Marketing
what do you...
tools. Let's
Yeah.
dissect
Yeah.
these.
So, I mean, yes, they are all video content tools. Some of them you can pre-record. Some of them are live streams. Some of them have a very small, footprint in terms of time. Like Raina was saying, TikTok was originally just like 1 minute. Like Twitter was originally 120 characters. And those bite-sized things are special for a reason. But let's start, Beneeta. Why do you think Twitch, specifically Twitch, is good for board games?
It's because it shows how fun board games can be, because everything is so unscripted. I have a 5-second delay and that's it. So everything that's happening is real time, including technical difficulties. But I have a really high energy stream, and I think people really see how fun games can be. Even like some of like the more complicated games, just like there's so much table talk. I'm never just playing the game. I'm also talking to chat and playing the game. And I love how interactive it is. Like I already mentioned, I oftentimes have guests or designers on, and it's a great way to ask questions, and just also like me, just if I'm playing a solo game, which I do occasionally, people can ask me questions like, oh, what did you think about this? Or how do you think about the game? And you don't necessarily get that in YouTube. YouTube people can leave comments, but do you want to respond to every comment? Do you have time to respond to every comment? Exactly. And so I really enjoy how interactive Twitch is. And I think more and more publishers are realizing like, oh, this is a really great way to like showcase your game, because I do a whole full playthrough. So it's a great way to see the game from start to finish.
Right. Yeah. And that's the other thing too, because you're live playing.
Well, it's like reality TV for board games, because it really is. Because now it's kind of like, oh, I liked how that happened. Oh, I like the way they're playing together.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they're having fun. I'd like to, you know what I mean? Because very much the reasons people watch reality TV shows, you're going to get that from, obviously catered to your more specifically your taste.
Also, I'm competitive, and people really like that. So there's a lot of trash talk sometimes.
And cat butts. Cat butts.
And cat butts.
Yeah. It's really funny because one of the things that Eric Lang has said in the past when we're talking about, what kind of game do you want to design? And he said, well, when he was working with Simon, it's like, well, Simon wants a game that as soon as you look at it, you know how it plays, you want to play it. And then, people are playing it, and their actions while they're playing it are drawing you in. Right. And I think Twitch has that great kind of capacity to kind of do the whole thing that static pictures just don't do justice. Like everybody here has probably seen like all the old 70s and 80s back of the box covers where everybody's like, like that on
The
the
kid
bottom.
going,
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Right? Whereas,
Yeah.
seeing Benita and other people play it live on stream is a wonderful thing. The other thing that Twitch is really great for if you're into RPGs is like actual plays, where people are live role playing and they
Yeah.
are hilarious and they're fun and they're interesting. And some of them are serious and some of them are not. And it's just a great way to see other people. And a lot of people are using that as like entertainment, like Critical Role is
Yeah.
huge, right?
And
And that is,
costumes.
yeah, well, yeah, and
Cosplay.
costumes and cosplay, and it's really entertaining. And then people can see how people dungeon master and how they use miniatures and terrain on their table or don't. And it's really kind of an interesting thing. So, Raina, what about TikTok? What is the difference between that you think between like YouTube, TikTok, all those other things, and why have you picked TikTok as your weapon of choice?
I feel like TikTok is very unique because the potential to reach the mass market is so much more than with any other platform. The reason being, so on TikTok, just if anyone isn't familiar with it, you have two different like pages. You have the following page, which is basically content from people that you follow, and you have the For You page, which is basically it's most of the time it's not content people that you follow, but just content that the algorithm says, hey, based on stuff that you've done before, this is stuff that you might like. And so a majority of the content that you see isn't even from, accounts that you follow. And so like in that regards, this TikTok that I made on a board game has the potential to reach like so many different people who don't even know about hobby board gaming, which I think is really
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
does
Can I
the
tell
Because they
a
look at
funny
other things.
story about
Yeah,
that?
go ahead.
Yeah.
Funny stories are awesome.
So I have a contract with a publisher, and they're like, "Hey, we really want you to play this game, but Reina's TikTok sold the game out. So as soon as it's back in stock, you'll stream that." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, Reina literally sold out this game! Like, how impressive is that? Like." Twitch can't do that. I think Twitch is amazing, but Twitch can't do that. TikTok
And
can.
that is the thing about TikTok. Like I've seen some of Raina's videos go from like 500, 1,000, and then like immediately like the next day it's all of a sudden up to like 14.4 thousand views or
Just that
impressions or whatever you
one
want to
video
call
has
them, right?
5 million, I think, right? You have
Right?
one
Can I
video
ask you a
that's 5
question about
million.
the algorithm?
Yes, please.
Okay, because this is where it gets interesting, like is how things pick it up, right? And I think a lot gets explored about YouTube, and that's like easy to, go. You fall down rabbit holes, but that works if you want. But when you post a TikTok video, do you have like certain tags that you're putting in, and that's how it's picking it up, or is it picking up based on similarities amongst people? Like, how is it matching these people so that people can figure out how is it connecting with mass?
So in regards to hashtags, it's very important that you use hashtags that are relatable to your niche. So that way, if someone likes a bunch of videos that are hashtag board games, it'll probably push you more content that says hashtag board games. But I mean, the TikTok algorithm, just like with any social media algorithm, it's such you have no idea how it works, to be completely honest. Sometimes I'll have a video that I think will do really well and it totally flops. And then on the contrary, a video that I don't think will do that well gets like 500,000 views. And it's just, I think that I've noticed some trends within my personal channel, like party games tend to do better, ones that are better for the mass market. But aside from that, I'm just trying to be consistent with my content and hope that, the algorithm picks up on it.
Pray to the digital gods, right? Come on, algorithm.
That's
Come on,
good
pick
stuff
this
to
up.
learn, right? Like when people
Yeah.
are trying to get out there, it's like, okay, well, you're doing it for a reason, right?
Mhm.
And so, what are sort of the things you need to know, or how to set yourself up so you can kind of at least head in that direction.
Right. Pauline Fake Kong says, I love how Benita can carry on conversations for hours on Twitch with so much energy. And I think that's, another
you,
thing that
Pauline.
people end up having, like developing these things we call parasocial relationships with streamers, right? And we'll talk about that in a bit. Can I ask you guys a question about your philosophy towards media and tabletop gaming? What is I know that people have asked, are you trying to market? What are you trying to do? But in the philosophy side of it, how do you view your role in the industry? Do you think of yourself as part of the industry? What is the philosophy that you take into each and every kind of time you log into Twitch or, are making a TikTok video? What is the thought that's going through your head in terms of how you see yourself and your role in this space? What do you think? Raina, what do you think?
I feel like I really push for board games to be more inclusive and accessible. And to me, accessible means, being able to explain games in layman's terms, not having to use like all of these flash words like, oh, this is like an area control Euro point salad game. Because like the average person on the street is going to be like, I don't even know what you just said. And they're going to keep swiping.
Yeah.
But if you just like explain, the general feel of a game, how it plays, like what its theme is, then that's when you get people hooked in and get them to go ahead and look for more information after that.
Excellent. Beneeta, what about you?
I just want people to play more games. Also, when I started in the industry, there wasn't really anyone that looked like me. And I want to show other like South Asian women that like, hey, you could have like not your typical job and you can make this your career or you could just do this for fun. And I just I want more diversity and inclusion in this hobby because it's still a lot of
look at just the four of us. Right
Yeah.
now. Like, the idea of this
Nice
just
mix.
like even a few years ago.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was you, Beneeta. Did you write a tweet about that? About not having the traditional job that a South Asian parent would want you to have.
Oh, possibly. I mean, I think most people know, but like I'm technically an attorney and I left my firm in May to do this full time. And my parents are very supportive, but I know like not a lot of Indian parents would be.
Yeah, right. So I think it was definitely you. It was definitely you.
Yeah.
Amy is asking, what is your preferred way that you would like publishers to reach out to you? I think she put the hearts at the end to try to like butter you up.
As in like just like how might she go about it?
Amy's awesome, by the way.
Amy
She'll be a
is
guest on the
awesome.
show in November, I think. But yeah, how would publishers reach out to each of you?
I think email for sure is the best
Okay.
way.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
email's pretty professional, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we'll get to your email details at the end.
Honestly, I should be more professional, but if you reach out to me Twitter DMs, I'm pretty open and then we can carry the conversation over to email. I'm on Twitter a lot, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Christian Gilbert's asking, can we also mention how Discord is such a good add-on to Twitch to keep the conversation going in between streams? Huh, very interesting. So do you use Discord as well?
That's a
Beneeta?
weird guy, and he's in my Discord. Hi. Yes, I do use Discord. I have a personal Discord for my community, and I think it is important to keep the conversation going and to keep a feel of community because I'm only streaming 2 to 3 times a week, but I want to still stay in touch with like my community, and I think Discord's a great way to do that.
Right. And how do you set up your Discord? Is it like super complex or is it just a very easy Discord?
It is a very easy Discord. I do have a list of rules that you need to agree to before you see anything, which is mostly like don't be not. I'm sorry, keep BPG-13. Be nice. Don't be rude. Things like
don't
that.
be a jerk.
Don't be a jerk,
Yeah,
essentially. And yeah, I mean, I have like we have channels. We talk about board games and then video games and like other nerdy stuff. And then also one of my most active channels in my Discord is the pet channel and the food channel, which is like very important to me. So I'm very happy.
And you also play like indie video games on your stream sometime too, right?
Sometimes not as much as I used to because I've veered more into board game content, but I used to do Ace Attorney and I would do like voiceovers and stuff. Yeah. I was like, how wrong is this video game?
Quite. Excellent. So tell me, we'll start with Beneeta. What is the upside of being in board game media? What do you like about it?
Well, I've met so many like fabulous people like Raina. Raina was my roommate at Gen Con,
That's awesome.
That's so cool. We've been interacting online for like a year because we started kind of doing content like similar, like around the same time, like similarly. And it was so great to like meet her in person. And it didn't feel like I was meeting like her for the first time, right? And just making connections that way. I've truly made some very good friends, and I wouldn't have if I wasn't in the board game media, and that's very important to me.
Good. Raina, what about you?
That's awesome. It's great to see how as much as it's weird, but it's how much games then take over your life because becomes your friends and everything you consume. And
Yes.
I mean, yes, we're all a little crazy, but it's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Raina.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I started board game content creating in the middle of the pandemic, and I met a bunch of people when I went to Gen Con recently. And every time I was like, wow, it feels like I've known you for so long, which is insane. Besides that, I think I've definitely gotten more into board games as I started content creation because, as a result, I like to do research about what's coming up, and I like to cover newer games as well. So I've definitely expanded my board game taste since then.
Mhm.
So those are the upsides. And in terms of money and remuneration and things like that, for content, it's a thing, right? So people are like, Beneeta, like this is what you're doing now, right?
Mhm.
And that's sustaining you, and it's good. Raina, are you making money off of what you're doing?
Yes, so I'm currently a full-time nursing student. I did have a part-time job up until a few months ago, and I quit that job so I could do content creation more frequently.
While you're doing nursing.
Yes.
There you go. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Um, so we've talked about the upside. We talked about all the fun stuff. You get to meet new people. You get games. You get to play games. When you're traveling, it's like, hey, do you get noticed? Do you get like recognized out there while you were at Gen Con? Do people say, oh my gosh, that's Beneeta K? Or oh my gosh, that's Raina from 1 Minute Board Games?
Well,
That's-
Raina
Yeah,
has a
Benita got
really
record.
yeah, Raina has a cute story. You should tell it.
I just want to say that Benita definitely got recognized a lot at Gen Con because she is awesome and everyone should
Aw.
recognize her.
Oh,
But
true.
I actually got recognized in public for the first time at a wedding that I went to by one of my servers. He
That's
was like,
hilarious.
"Hey, are you that girl who does like board game TikToks?" And I was like, "Shut up." I'm like, "Do you want to come over and play a board game after this?" 'Cause
How cool is that?
That's awesome.
it was an
Funny.
open bar, so I had a lot of liquid courage, but he didn't end up living near me, but we exchanged information and he was super nice. And that was definitely freaking insane.
That's super
That's
funny.
awesome.
I have
Super,
not
super
had a
funny.
random person on the street recognize me, but I've had other board gamers recognize me. And at Gen Con, a few people came up to me like, "I love your content," and like I was so flustered because I've gotten that like online, but never in person, and it was very cool. It was a very cool experience.
Yeah, it's super nice. It starts being awkward, and then you just get used to it, and it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So we've talked about the positives. We talked about the fun stuff. Now we're gonna have to, unfortunately, because there's always a flip side to the coin. What are some of the downsides of being in board game media? Have you noticed any? What do you think, Benita? Any negatives, or is it
Uh,
all sunshines and rainbows and cat butts?
well, there is definitely negatives in board game media, or just honestly in media in general.
Hmm.
I also think being a woman has its own host of issues, and
Yep.
also being a minority woman has its own host of issues. One of my first ever Twitch streams, I got so many trolls, and which is so random because I had been streaming under the Girls' Game Shelf banner for a few months and didn't really get any. But when I started on my own, I think it was my first or second stream, I just got like so many comments about like my weight and I should go to the gym. And I'm just like, if I was like a less secure person, I would never have continued streaming because that sucks. Those are awful comments.
Yeah.
And then I've had like a few like streams or TikToks like get popular, and I got a lot of like hate comments. And after I did my charity stream, I got a lot of hate comments, which is so
Really?
wild to me. Someone literally came into my Discord, which they were quickly banned, but like, and been like, "Why are you on the news? Like, you don't even have a gaming chair." Yeah, you're right. I have an office chair for my back because I'm 31. Like, just like stupid comments like that.
You could have asked them to buy you a gaming chair.
No, this chair is
But
better
you're like,
than
you know how
any
expensive
Oh, it
this?
probably
Yeah, you're
is.
probably like, I could buy like
Like,
three.
I love my chair. I spent way too much on this chair because for lumbar support, it's better
Yeah.
than any gaming chair on the market. Please.
Yeah.
Please. You don't even know.
Yeah, you don't even know, but yeah. So I think that's a huge downside.
Yeah. Have you been hate rated ever?
Oh yes. I think it's a huge problem on Twitch right now. Like it's
Yeah.
like for the last like month, every single stream is just like trolls and trolls and trolls. I have had great moderators. I also been keeping like abreast with like like tools and moderation tools. So I have a few
Okay.
bots that will auto ban people. But yeah, it's a mess, and it sucks because I don't really know why it's happening. It just keeps happening.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it really, really only keeps happening to people of color,
Yeah.
and mostly women of color and trans people, and it's been pretty bad over the last couple of months. And again, we don't know what started it necessarily,
Yeah.
but
Somehow
it's
it's got to be
happening.
organized then, right?
Something
So
Oh,
organized.
yeah,
Yeah.
some of it is definitely organized.
It's just like every single stream in the last like 3 weeks, I've just gotten in like a hate raid, like every single time, like without fail. Like now I have to like tell all my guests, like, hey, FYI, this is probably going to happen. Don't worry, we're gonna ignore it. My bots and mods will fix it, but like just FYI, like I hate having to give that speech to all my guests, but it's just a
Yeah.
reality. And again, it happened today. And I feel
Right.
so bad because someone created a Twitch account just to like participate in the stream, but because of my moderation tools, if your account is less than 24 hours old, you can't talk
can't.
in my
oh,
chat.
no.
Aw.
And like and I feel bad, but like I can't also turn
You
that
gotta
off. Yeah, you know what I
protect
mean?
Yeah,
I
you
gotta
gotta
protect my community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting thing. So, for those of you out there who don't know what a hate raid is, it's when a bunch of people jump into a feed, your chat, whatever, while you're streaming and just start plastering hateful messages throughout your
Yeah.
chat. And usually, people's moderators, if you have a good moderator team or, you trust your moderator, they can smash a lot of that easily. But you can't keep up with a huge amount of trolls. That's the problem. That's why one person coming in is not a big deal, but a raid is like a lot of people coming in, and a lot of those raids are automated so that they're just spamming
Mhm.
like hateful messages.
Also follow botting,
Yeah.
which is where like a bot, like bots will just follow you. Like the other day, I got like 30 bots with all same names, but like the numbers were different at the end. Just like 30 new followers. I'm like, there's absolutely no way these are
That's
real
zero new
followers.
followers.
Zero new followers.
No.
Yeah. And then the other thing Benita's talking about is she then also arms her chat with bots, her stream with bots, so that those bots will hopefully, like a Roomba, I guess,
Yeah.
automatically
Clean the other bots up.
suck up all the other bots, right?
Oh my god,
and
bots
auto ban
chasing
people and
bots.
stuff.
Like it's just
Well, it is. It's like
insane.
Robot Wars. It's like Robot Wars in your
Yeah.
in your chat.
Digital robot wars. Well, it's because
Not
these
great.
most of these companies, they don't want the bots purged because ultimately it equals more perceived users.
Yeah.
So it just becomes this chase engine, right? Because people are trying to combat these bots because they're not real. So then people create more unreal. Anyway, it's utterly bizarre, but it's just going to unfortunately get
I
worse.
mean,
before
there'll
it
be a
implodes.
point where there are more bots than there are actual users, and then
Well,
God,
there
that
is
is the
I hope
decline of
not.
crazy numbers
civilization.
for Instagram right now because at one point I think it was supposed to be only like 7 to 8% bots, but like the fact that they could be easily like a quarter of their database could be bots at this point,
Oh my
Wow.
god.
because that's a lot of money of fake people,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Instagram's a
yeah.
whole other story. I think Instagram is dying, but that's another conversation.
Right,
Well,
but
yeah,
then
I mean,
you
we're
could
we're
get
talking
these
about media, so
problems in anywhere you can start to generate
Yeah.
basically users, right?
right,
Yeah.
yeah, to artificially inflate your user count. So what about for you, Reina? Your stuff is more scripted, right? Like you actually plan out like your recording of your TikTok. This is like 1 minute of like pure adrenaline, and I'm gonna show all this stuff.
Yes, 100%. I do write a script and I time it to make sure that I can say it in a minute too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, do you learn dances because it's TikTok?
I have a dancing background. I've been dancing for I think over 12 years now. So that's
Yeah,
something that I just like to do and I just make it board game related because why
that's
not?
awesome. Yeah,
Board
right.
game related dances. Awesome.
Do the patchwork. Do the patchwork. You know?
Can you do that, Raina? Can you make a board game dance for like each game? That would be so
Do it,
cool.
Do it.
That's what we're talking
Do
about,
it.
yes,
right?
Do it.
I'll
Do it.
try.
Do the
I'll put
patchwork.
it in the backlog of ideas.
It's like your exit. It's the exit to each of your videos is like its specialty dance.
There you go.
I love
Um,
that.
do you guys find it hard to always be on? Like you're always like, I have to be personable. I have to be I have to be on stream, even though you might feel like crap. I have to record this TikTok. Do you feel that pressure?
I think just from a TikTok standpoint, for sure, but it's easier for me because I'm not live. So I feel like definitely this is a question more for Benita. Because for me, if I don't feel like it, I just like, okay, I gotta hammer this out for like 5 minutes and then I'm done. And then that's it.
Yes, I do sometimes feel pressured to be on because, I don't want to watch a boring streamer, so I don't want to be a boring streamer. And also that's just not how I stream. And I usually am high energy, and most, like, 90% of the time I'm good to go. But then there's definitely a 10% of the time where I'm just like so exhausted, or like,
Sure.
something bad happened, but like, I like to stay consistent to my schedule. And yeah, there's been days where I've taken off, but oftentimes my streams are sponsored, and I don't think it's fair to the publisher to be like, hey, the date that we agreed upon 3 months ago, I'm going to change it just because I'm not feeling well. And I'm sure if it ever happened, a publisher would be understanding. But yeah, there's definitely days where I'm like, I went to, like, for today, I went to a funeral this morning. Didn't
Yeah.
super want to stream, but I did, and it was great. I had a great time. But yeah, so yes, there's sometimes pressure to be on, to answer your question.
Mm-hmm. Now, because you mentioned it, that some streams are sponsored, and Reina, you're also doing some monetization stuff. What about the idea of ethics? We talk about, like, this comes up all the time. Like every year, at least once or twice a year, somebody somewhere is going to say, we should just start this independent media so we can say whatever we want about board games and not be at the, beck and call of the publishers. There needs to be ethics in board game media or journalism or whatever you want to call it. How do you feel about that? Is that a problem? Is that a thing that you've ever worried about?
I would partly argue that they're not necessarily doing reviews to which this would be attached.
That's my point.
I don't feel like I'm a board game journalist because I do playthroughs.
Yeah.
I think this is pointing out a specific issue. I don't know if I personally don't feel like their content falls into this issue.
Right. But the thing is that sometimes people get lumped into it, right? Like,
Sure.
Are you getting paid? Therefore, how can you say that your opinion is unbiased, right? That kind of stuff.
I mean, that's fair. I always start my stream with, hey, this stream is sponsored by so-and-so. And on my stream overlays, the company's logo is always displayed. And I also make graphics for every stream, and the company's logo is on every stream. So I try to be as clear as possible. Also, it's the law that, hey, this content is sponsored.
Right. So, a lawyer breaking the law is not a good look.
No,
Benita.
not a good
Don't
look.
Yeah, I think that's why my content is like strictly objective. If you watch my TikToks, I would say it go as far to say like I never offer like my personal insights on a game.
Right. Your TikToks and they're really fast. It's like, this is this and this is that, and here's the stuff that's going on, and that's it.
Yeah, there's no room for opinions.
They're little commercials,
Mhm.
right? Ultimately. And
Yeah.
so, and again, like, we kind of expect commercials to be paid for anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's like, it's just an alternate form of essentially like creating commercials, which is also why they're ideal and one of the cheapest ways you could get, alternate forms of marketing.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they have like a person who is maybe trusted as a verified expert in that field or whatever, that has public trust and also some reach and some clout or whatever we want to call it.
You have to earn it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It takes work to get something that's gonna.
Oh yeah. I mean,
you.
people don't understand. Like, you don't just start up on TikTok and immediately have 1 million impressions on your first TikTok. That isn't a thing. One thing I did want to talk about was parasocial relationships. So for everybody out there who doesn't know what a parasocial relationship is, it can happen to streamers and YouTubers and people in media where viewers and people who you might have like a semi relationship with, like they're constantly in your stream and constantly chatting with you, think they have more of a relationship with you than they really do.
Yeah, they think
has
they
that
know you?
Yes. Has that happened? Is it scary? Is that something you're worried about? We'll start with Benita.
Has that happened? Yes. Is it something I worry about sometimes? But I'm pretty good about my boundaries. And I get it. I get why it happens. I'm talking to you for like hours every single week, so I understand why it happens. But for the most part, I think everyone is pretty respectful. I'm also not like a Twitch streamer with like 200,000 followers, right? So it's something I can handle, and I have handled.
You're also not streaming out of a hot tub.
It's true. I'm
I
not.
know. I might. I don't know.
No hate to hot tub streamers. No hate to hot tub
but
streamers.
Yeah.
no hate
But
at all. It's just
yeah,
more
I think
understandable that would happen.
it depends on the attention that you're looking for, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, partly is like if you're just playing board games, you're like, I don't think you guys are here for the right reason.
Yeah, I mean, so I do think my content skews slightly more adult just because I don't have children in my life. And I think there's a lot of family-friendly content, which is so great. If that's just not my personal brand. So I think, sometimes that could be a reason why. But I do try to have good boundaries.
Good. What about you, Raina? Is there anything on TikTok that's like that? Is that a thing on TikTok?
It's something that I haven't personally experienced. I think that that's something that happens a lot with live content or also just like long form content, like let's say on YouTube. But I've seen it happen a lot just like in media in general, especially with younger, conventionally attractive women. And it's something that I do live in fear of, but it's something that I was actually warned of pretty early on when I started content creation. Like, hey, which is also a downside of being in board game media, it's the safety issues. So, I have a PO box. I make sure never to give out my physical address and just trying as much as I can to be safe and keep my relationships with people as at arm's distance.
Yeah, and as professional as possible. That's a great point. See, I would never have thought about not giving out my address. Right?
Yeah.
And that's like perfect example of male privilege right there. It's like, yeah, here's my address. Mail me that thing. Right? Because I wouldn't have thought about that. And now that you mention it, it's like, heck yeah, that's a smart way to do it.
It's really smart.
Make sure that the relationships are as professional as possible. There's no risk involved. And that's really a great point. So you're saying that somebody reached out to you, Raina, and said, hey, I see you're getting into board game media. Here's some tools. Here's some ideas about how you can stay a little safer. Did that happen?
Yes, I have been very fortunate as to very early on had some people who kind of took me on as like a mentee of sorts and just let me know like, hey, it's so great that you're here and you're doing this and what you're doing, but the community isn't as, like peaches and cream as everyone thinks that it is. And this is what goes on. And just so you can be aware of that and just be safe, make sure to protect yourself. And it was definitely scary at first because I'm just like, I just want to be here and talk about board games. But, especially for marginalized creators, it's not like that. We can't just be here and talk about board games.
Yeah.
We constantly have to be there for ourselves and for other people. And it's something that I've learned and it's very important to me.
No, that's great. And I'm very thankful that there are people out there looking out for the people who follow in, footsteps of others. That's great. Benita,
Yes.
did anybody reach out to you about streaming on Twitch?
Yeah, no, it's not necessarily streaming on Twitch, but like just being a content creator. I definitely was fortunate to have people who've taken me under their wing and like, if they see me interacting with someone or just having people that I can just get a ref check to, like I've had companies or people approach me and be like, hey, can you work with me on this so-and-so? And then like I've asked my network, like what is your opinion? And I've, gotten variable answers. And like, that's so important. And I consider myself very lucky that I have a network that I can ask these questions because, a lot of them is not public knowledge for the safety of people. That's why they're not public knowledge. And I'm never going to fault someone for not like being public about this information, but I'm very lucky that I know people who know this information so they can tell me and I can make better informed decisions.
Right. And then again, both of you, if there's a next generation, you can be that person for them, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
very forthcoming with my information and I've definitely have like I think I've even reached out to Raina about like people or something. Like I want to make sure like this generation of content creators like are safe because I don't want the things that have happened in the past to like happen to like us.
Yeah. Why make the same mistakes over and over again when it's honestly takes those conversations, but again, it's not like people are organized, right? So it kind of takes the getting into these communities for it to come out.
Yeah, I think Erica, you have one of the tattoos, don't you?
What?
Do you have the meeple tattoo, don't you, on your hand?
No.
Didn't you have? Don't you
No.
have that?
Do you want to get one?
I know what you're talking about.
I have a
Zach.
tattoo, but that's not where it is. And it's-
But I thought you had one. Anyway, but I think that, well, there's a story there. In that there are like 6 or 7 people, women, who were in board game media, and they all had a specific tattoo. And there's like only one of them left in board game media now, and they've been doing it. They were doing it like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and a lot of them just stopped
Yeah.
because of all the pressure
takes
that
a lot.
happens,
Yeah.
all of the trolls, all of the like. This is before hate raids were a thing.
Yeah. No.
And so, yeah,
I wouldn't
it's
be
tough.
here if it wasn't like for those women, like they definitely took a lot of shit that we very fortunately don't have to take as much. Definitely paved the way.
All right, so I'm
Yeah.
going to ask both of you to sell us on your specific platform. So Raina, you're going to champion TikTok, and Benita, you're going to champion Twitch. So you have like, I don't know, like couple minutes to sell us on why TikTok is the platform that all of us should
What are the
use to
benefits?
promote games. Yeah, what are the benefits? Why?
What can we do with it? Where can we reach?
What can we do? What are the
App.
tools that it provides you with that are not in other things? Because I see, all these weird TikToks with like voiceovers and like little like captions in it. Like, I don't know how to do that. How do we do that? Is that TikTok? Is that you personally invest in software that does it? I don't know. Sell us on that. Ready? Go. Why TikTok?
Oh my goodness. I think TikTok is great for reaching the mass market. I think that you can, do things that are adjacent to whatever it is you're working on, like board games, but make it a bit more personality based, which I think is super important because not a lot of people can convey their personality in under a minute. TikTok is just so weird, but I definitely think it's everyone that I've met in marketing has said that they think it's in like the up and coming as far as new social media platforms to get into. And yeah, I was not prepared for this.
That's okay. So we'll ask you some questions. So
We can come back if you remember
yeah. Are there specific tools that allow you to add like the voiceover part,
for like editing.
that weird robot voice that's always the same voice?
Yes. So that is you like type text on the screen and then you like press on it and it basically speaks it out for you.
Okay.
So that's like super easy, like when you don't want to do a voiceover yourself. They also have the ability to add closed captions, which I think is super important and accessible.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes. And then you can edit a lot of stuff in app. I personally don't do it because my stuff has become so complicated to the point where I can't. But you can just do everything in app. You never need to exit TikTok. And it's super, I think it's super intuitive. But then again, I use it a lot. So
Right. And I guess that's why people really like it, is because it is all in app as well, right? You can just record and then you can splice and add your captions, your voiceovers, your little fly through graphics, and then upload it instantly to TikTok and hopefully get, a billion kajillion hits on it.
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
It's that
It's
easy, right?
It's the dream.
We do have a TikTok question before
Yes.
we maybe jump to the next platform.
Yeah. So Daybell is asking, so TikTok is limited to around 1-minute videos. Can you like combine them? Or is it limited to
Like
that at all?
part one,
still?
part 2, part 3, or like they're in a row somehow.
Can you combine them?
Almost maybe like a series.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can do series. There are a lot of people who do like series on stuff for sure. It is a bit harder to have like consistent viewers among the series because let's say the algorithm spits out part 3. Not a lot of people will go back and watch part 1 and part
Unless
2.
it's
Part one and
interesting.
two.
Unless
Don't
it's
do that,
interesting.
algorithm.
Yeah,
That's not
unless
very
it's
intelligent.
interesting.
Artificial intelligence.
Uh-huh. But like that's video limit itself. It's actually up to 3 minutes now for a lot of people. But
Oh.
I can't
Oh,
afford
do
the
you have to
rebranding,
earn?
so we're staying at 1 minute.
Earn 3 minutes.
So-
Like, what's
so-
the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
so
it-
you can record up to 3 minutes now.
Yeah.
But what's the difference
Everybody-
between
anybody can?
accounts? Like,
So there are some features where like TikTok rolls it out like gradually. Like there are
Oh,
some
I
people
see.
who like test out the stuff and then they just like roll it out by like demographics, like where you live and stuff. So I think I think the 3 minute is TikTok wide now though.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
Now, what about the whole fear at the beginning of TikTokness when TikTok started coming out? It's like, You're giving your data to the Chinese government. Is that a thing still?
I feel like this is probably something bad. I don't know. I feel like everyone has our data nowadays, so it's
And
not
like
something that I'm concerned about.
we're on Facebook right now, and that gives everything to the CIA. Like it's disclosed in your like agreement. So I mean, if we've all been doing it this long for one organization,
Yeah.
Well, if CIA wants to play some board games, they can. Come and do
it's
it.
explicitly in the terms and agreement. You're like, this is
Yeah.
really strange. But I mean, that's the same thing. Okay, well, somebody else just owns TikTok.
Hmm.
I guess.
I hate to say it, but you know.
No, I agree.
That's where the data's going somewhere. Just up in the cloud, but who can pull it down? For other things for TikTok, what are some like best practices? Like if Jay Bell wanted to go make a TikTok about something, what would you say to him? Okay, you got to do this, or you got to upload it at this time, or what are the best practices that you can kind of think about?
I think the best practice, the number one tip I can give is to be consistent and prolific in your posting. There are a lot of platforms out there that punish you for posting, too frequently, but TikTok is the exact opposite. It encourages you to post, multiple times a week, if not every day, if not multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Which might be difficult, but that's why, you don't have to do like 1 minute instructional content every time. Just like, talk for 15 seconds about a game or like do a little dance with a trending song with the game. And that's sort of how you get the wheels going.
Right. So I do have a question about those dances and trending songs. Do they like pick those songs and then you learn the dance, I guess, and do it? And because the only one I see right now is that there's a couple like you see the same song or hear the same song over and over again. Like the one where people do this thing and they're like da 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 and
Oh yeah.
and then they answer questions during like the da da part. Like questions I always get asked as a
Raina did one of those.
game designer, right? And then they do these things. And are those songs like you can publicly just use them now because they're on TikTok?
Yes. So that's the main way to sort of poke at the TikTok algorithm is by doing like trends, like trending sounds and stuff.
Right.
Whether or not these trends are organic or like they're advertisements on TikTok secretly, I don't know. But yes, if there is like a certain like song that's trending a lot on TikTok, if you use that, before the window closes, your video is more likely to get views.
I will say one thing. I think you are going to really tap into trends if you're also a TikTok consumer. I've seen like really big brands have so little followers because they're not hiring content creators or they're not trusting their social media team, and they're like, because there's so much red tape, like trends happen in a day or two for the most part. So if you're not like tapping into them, and the way you tap into them is being on the app, just scroll endlessly, mindlessly scrolling. Yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna like be behind a trend. If you're a week late to a trend, who's gonna watch your video?
Yeah. It is interesting because those trends, some of them last a long time and some of them just fall off. Or they're super popular and then they fall off. But if I ever hear that do 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 that stupid song, like I hate it. I hate those trends. I don't like them, but they stick in your head. See, that's what they do. So Jay Bell, yes, Jay Bell, you do need to make a bunch of TikToks.
Hell yeah, Jay.
Maybe you do. Maybe you do.
Red Pandas, random songs, he said. So there you go. All right. So we've learned a little bit about TikTok. We've learned a little bit about the engine. Beneeta, your turn. Why Twitch?
Why Twitch?
What does Twitch give us that we can't do in, say, TikTok or something else? What are the tools? What are some best practices that you can think of?
I think it is a really interactive platform, and you get to talk to you get to talk to like other board gamers. You get to connect to people. I literally have met people in my Twitch community. I think is so cool, especially in the pandemic right now. It's a great way to connect with people for marketing purposes. People want to see a playthrough of your game, but people don't want to see a boring playthrough. So hire someone who is entertaining and fun and can talk to chat and the game, because if you just focus on the game, no one's going to watch your stream. And if you just focus on the chat, no one's going to hire you. You got to do both
game
well.
Takes too long.
That is a great point, right? Because talking to chat is an art form.
Yeah, it
Being
is.
able to look at the game, play the game while you're also out of the corner of your eye watching the chat to see if something came out as a question and then answering it while you're still making meaningful decisions in the
Mhm.
game.
Yep. It is a skill. It is definitely a skill. It's not
Yeah.
it's not as easy as it looks. But
You
yeah.
just make it look easy.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. And what does Twitch provide in terms of tools, in terms of, like how does somebody just start streaming on Twitch? Can you just do
Um,
that?
okay, so I think Twitch has its own streaming software that you can download. I never used it, but I currently use Streamlabs OBS, and it is not intuitive, and I had to watch a lot of YouTube videos on to figure it out. I do think there is a little bit of a hurdle to start Twitch streaming,
Hmm.
but once you cross that hurdle, things start to make more and more sense. And also streamers, like they're always like upgrading the tech, upgrading things. Like I've gone through like 3 different Twitch chat bots. Basically will like be like, hey, here's my socials, or hey, this is a game I'm playing. Like, it's always like I'm ready to learn something new like once a month. There's like once a month I'll add something new to my content because like I want to keep improving it. But if I try, if
Yeah.
and this is like some advice, if you try to update everything at once, you're going to overwhelm yourself. You're going to burn yourself out, and you're not going to enjoy it anymore. And if you're not enjoying it, then why are you doing it?
Yeah.
That's a great point. So you can overwhelm yourself with all this streaming stuff, like buying a new microphone and adding all this stuff in a camera and
Exactly.
like different camera points of views and overlays and flyby whatever titles and things,
Yeah.
and animation and cat butts, all cat
Cat
butts,
butts.
right?
Always cat
Cat
butts.
butts. You can do all of that, and then in Twitch, there's all these other things like you can people when they talk and chat, they can it's almost like playing little games. You can actually play little games almost in
Mhm.
chat with like you can roll dice, you can get numbers and
Yeah.
all these weird things, and there's all this stuff where you can use emojis and you have to pay different amounts of points to use different emojis. It's weird and I don't get it. But if you start trying to do all of it at once, so if you want your stream to say look like Beneeta streamed tomorrow and you've never streamed before, that's not going to happen. Right? It
Yeah.
didn't happen overnight. It happened over like the last year and a half.
Yeah, it
In
happened.
terms of getting it to where it is, right? In
I was
terms of the
looking up.
numbers, in
Yeah.
terms of the technology, and the smoothness with which the show runs right now, or the stream runs right now.
100%.
So
I was
it is a
looking at
thing that
some
you
of
have to
my
grow.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was saying I was
No,
looking
go
at
ahead.
my old clips, and in the beginning I used a platform called StreamYard, which would directly stream to Twitch, and I used the unpaid version, so there was no overlays, no nothing. But you know how you popped up chat here, like I was able to
Yeah.
do that, and that was really important to me because I wanted to build a community. And then over time, I started getting overlays. I commissioned emotes, and I utilized channel points, which is just a really fun, free way that your community can participate.
Mhm.
That's where the Claude came from.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
And that's all like
So,
it's very gamified. It's like gamification
mhm,
of chat. It's very funny.
yeah.
It's psychologically a very interesting phenomenon
Because
to
the
me.
more you're in chat, the more channel points you get, and that way you can
Yeah.
spend more channel points to get me more buzzed on Twitch Happy Hour. So it's like all comes back.
It's a very good
Yeah.
thing. um, what else is there about Twitch that so you mentioned bots.
Yes.
Bots are a very big part of Twitch, which they aren't a thing in TikTok. There's no like TikTok bot. Is there, Raina? I don't think
Nope.
there's any bots in TikTok.
Mm-mm.
But Discord and Twitch, they have these little like sub programs called bots that do things.
Mhm.
So what kind of bots would you recommend for like if a first time streamer was to say, I'm gonna start streaming
Yeah.
tomorrow, what kind of bots would you think, oh, you kind of need this one? Don't go crazy, but
Yeah.
this one.
Nightbot. Nightbot is really intuitive. It's just NIGHT bot, Nightbot.
Oh,
Super
like a white
intuitive.
knight bot. With
Yeah,
sword and
kind
shield
of.
okay, got
And
it.
it's really good for commands. for like a command is just like exclamation point Raina. Like I have a Raina command. That means every time I do exclamation Raina's like Twitch links or TikTok links will like be there. Like
Right.
commands like that, or like commands like game, like people can see what game I'm playing, and if it's like a Kickstarter, they can click on the Kickstarter link to go directly to that link. I think Nightbot is a really, really great beginner bot. I recently switched over to something called Mix It Up Bot. It is
Poor
not as
Nightbot. You abandoned Nightbot?
I did abandon Nightbot, but it took me 9 months to abandon Nightbot. Mix It Up Bot does more stuff, but it's not as intuitive. So I had to watch a lot of YouTube videos to do it. While Nightbot is just like super straightforward, but it doesn't do as much stuff. So it's kind of like balanced out. But I would very strongly recommend for new streamers to get Nightbot.
Right. And then moderators. What do you think about moderation?
Moderators are so important. When you're starting out, you're not going to have a moderator, right? You know,
Right.
You just won't. But you know, over time, like I didn't have any. I mean, I made like Anna Maria my moderator, but like she wasn't in every stream. Over time, you're going to build people who will come, people you trust. And I'm like, and I, you know, reached out to people like, you know, you're in my stream a lot. It's never required. It's not paid, right? So it's never required. But if you're there, I would like to give you this power. So like if someone says a stupid comment or is rude, like you have the power to ban them. You don't need to ask my permission.
Right.
And then currently for all the hate rating and follow botting, there's this one creator who has made this bot for free, and he just keeps adding like lists to auto ban lists because like everyone is sharing all these like names of all the follow bots.
Yeah.
And that is Serybot, SERY_bot. That bot has like saved my stream so many times. Like when I got follow botted, it just automatically banned all those 30 people.
Yeah.
Which
is that
would have saved
person
me so
still
much.
doing it? Because I heard that they might have quit.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good.
I think that was another bot. I know what you're
okay.
talking about. I think that was another bot. There's been a few people who've been trying to combat it because it's such a big issue.
Yeah,
My
and
recollection is
they got a
that
ton of
Serybot is
grief
still doing it.
for it, so it was
Yeah.
really weird. Like, why
Which
are you
is
picking on the person
weird.
who's trying to help the
Who's doing it
community?
for free?
Yeah,
like they're doing
the
it for free.
whole community, not just their community, the whole Twitch community, and
That's
you're
a
giving them grief
really
for this.
dumb thing to attack.
Yeah,
It was so weird. It was so weird. J Bell says, you know, talking to
thanks,
the people and
Jay.
talking to the chat is such a skill, and Beneeta does it so well.
Thanks, Jay.
There you go. Yeah. So that, you know what, we've talked for 61 minutes and 47 seconds, and that is a lot of time. Sorry, I cut off Benita's nose here. Sorry.
It's okay.
We'll fix that. There we
We'll
go.
uncut her nose. There you go.
Also, Christian, yes,
So-
White Claw power, yes. Okay, sorry.
Yes. Jay is in my masks game. We'll have to invite Beneeta on,
Yes,
Jay,
I
to
would
get her
love
to
to.
be Black Claw. We named a character. Oh, sorry, actually, it's White Claw. We named it Black Claw, and then we thought, no, that's not a great name for, like, why does a villain have to always be black? That's not a great thing. So we called it White Claw, and then I think
As in after the drink?
well, yeah, but also after Beneeta, because I think at least 2, if not 3, of the 5 players said we should get Beneeta.
Nice.
I know, Jay told me this story, and I'm like, hell yeah, name a character after White Claw. Yes.
Yes. And
Where's
then
my
get
White
Beneeta
Claw
to play.
sponsorship? That's what I want to know.
There you go. I mean, perfect
Well, I mean,
opportunity right there.
There you go.
Yeah. One
All right.
day.
Yes. So we'd like to thank Beneeta and Raina for coming to talk to us. Beneeta, Raina, where can we find you? We can find you with your professional email at
Yes, 1minuteboardgames@gmail.com. Just for any inquiries or if you want to, I don't know, talk maybe. I get those sometimes, to be honest.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's so nice.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Kinda like, hi, how are you? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then on
Yeah.
the other channels, where are you?
Yes. So I am also on TikTok at 1 Minute Board Games, also on YouTube if you want to see me for longer than a minute. And I am pretty active on Twitter as well, but that's at 1 Min Board Games because 1 minute was just too much for them to handle.
It's too much.
Those
Those extra letters,
character
guys.
limits, right?
I know.
Beneeta, how do we find you?
I am Beneeta, which is BENEETA_K on every single social media platform, which I was so happy to get because that's rare. But
It is rare, and it's
Yeah.
funny because I actually know other Beneeta Ks.
Yeah.
it's not an uncommon name and last initial. So it's like, that was
Yeah.
amazing.
But
How
they
did you
didn't get
do
there
that?
first.
But they didn't
Sad.
get there first, so you
They
can
didn't
find
get
me
there
on
first.
a TikTok. I am not as prolific as Raina, but I do occasionally post.
Do you dance though? It's the dances.
No, I'm gonna leave that to the professional dancer.
Raina, there you go, Raina.
Yeah. TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter, and I'm very active on Twitter.
There you go. Oh, we did have a question from before. I'm sorry, Amy. I missed it for a second while we were joking about something. And I did want to do this because both of you just mentioned Insta. Amy said that she feels like Instagram is bumming out everyone she knows right now. What is your opinion and or experience on Insta? We'll start with Beneeta and then finish up with Raina. Beneeta, what do you think
Yeah.
about Insta right now?
Well, I think I mentioned this earlier. I think Instagram is dying. I think Instagram doesn't know what it wants, what kind of platform it wants to be anymore. I think it wants to be a shopping platform, but that's not why people signed up for it originally. I think to grow on Instagram is really, really, really hard. I am on content creator TikTok, so I get like a lot of advice and stuff for that. And like originally used to be 30 hashtag, then for a while it was 10 hashtags, and then literally like today or yesterday, the Instagram's like content creator account was like, no, now you just got to use like max 5 Insta like hashtags, which I'm just like, that is so different from what you said like a year ago. Out of all the social media platforms, I found it most hard to grow on Instagram, which I find interesting.
It's
So I don't
interesting
really
because
like
a
it.
lot of people talk about Insta as being like super positive, like a really nice platform compared to like,
Yeah.
the hell sites like Twitter and whatnot.
I think people have started rating the comment sections more recently on Insta. Like the pandemic has not been nice to Instagram's comment sections.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also think it's hard to have like a real-time discussion on Instagram. So I think it's
Oh, yeah,
nicer
for sure.
because it's harder to have a real conversation. While in Twitter, it's like happening in real time, right? Well, on
firing off.
Instagram, it's annoying to like, it just you can't do reply. Like it's not as intuitive, and I think that's why it's nicer.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
I
use
don't
this
use
in quotes.
I don't use it at all because I don't actually know how to reply to somebody on Instagram. Literally do not. Literally do not.
Yeah.
Raina, what's your impression of Instagram and how it's going right now? And are you going to abandon it? Are you going to keep it up? What do you think?
I barely even post on there as it is. I think that TikTok has always been more of a visual platform.
Mhm.
And for me, I love to see people's personalities. I like to be able to have conversations with them easily. And yeah, Instagram's like notification just very disorganized. Like someone could comment on one of my photos, but it gets lost in like 100 people liking one of my other photos. And so I'm not able to respond to that. And yeah, I think it might be on its way out, but for me, I was never a big Instagram user. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Amy's saying that, the goalposts keep changing with Insta, and it's so sad because it used to be her favorite platform.
I think they're trying to copy TikTok with their reels, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I think what they said is that to get popular, you need to post like 10 reels a week. Who is
That's a lot of
posting
reels.
10 reels a week? Who's
People
doing
who
that?
dance, the dancers. It's always the dancers.
Like,
Yeah, they're like 10
It's always
seconds
the
a
dancers.
piece.
10
They just
videos
take
a
a
week
one
is
long dance and break it up into little sections.
yeah.
There you go.
It is really funny because you notice that trend of the different platforms copying each other's. Like
Mhm.
when Clubhouse was kind of a thing, I think it's kind of dying out really fast. Like Twitter instantly started this. Oh, we can do the same thing with this
Spaces.
type of stuff,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So it's really interesting. Christian Gilbert is saying even Facebook did a study about Instagram, and it turns out it is bad for the mental health of teenage girls.
Yep.
I saw that. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Jay Bell says he's pretty bad at Insta. He also feels like he doesn't like the lack of share this to my friends on Instagram, right? I don't know how to do that either, Jay.
Yeah.
I don't understand stories. I don't understand anything on Instagram. I'm with you there, buddy. I don't get it.
I think that's the only thing actually I like about Instagram is the stories, because it's just fun to see what people are doing like in their random daily life, right? I follow a lot of my friends on there. I'm like, oh, they're getting dinner here. Or, oh, that's a cute
And then they
little
did this,
video
and then
about
they
their
did that.
cat. Yeah, like I think that's a fun way to keep in touch with your friends. That's literally the only reason why I still use Instagram for the most part. Like, because I want to see what my friends are doing.
For a social platform, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Interesting. Not a shop front, not a that, right? So
No, I hate that they're prioritizing that so much.
yeah, it's sad. Well, that's it for today, everybody. If you want to find me, you can find me at Senfeng Lim on Twitter. Erica, where are you on Twitter?
I'm at Erica Buyers on, well, whatever I'm on. It'll be Erica Buyers.
It's true. It's true. If you want to find Lara, you can find her at TT Void. They'll be back in like January, February of 2022. So that'll be wonderful when Lara's back with us. And you can always follow us at Meeple Syrup. If you're interested in supporting the show and what we do here and having awesome guests like Raina and Beneeta on, we will gladly accept your patronage at patreon.com/Meeple Syrup. Hey, bot, you canceled my thing out. That's okay. See,
The
this is why the
exclamation
bot.
marks are still a trigger, I
It
think.
is. It is. That's fine. And yeah, find us at patreon.com/Meeple Syrup. There's a bunch of tiers, a bunch of stuff that you can get. Some of it, when we get back to conventions proper, that's when most of that stuff will get handed out, like, pins and things like that. We'll come find you. That is not a threat. That is, I have a gift. Is there any final advice? Let's start with Raina. What's your final advice to the viewers today?
Just make sure you're creating content that you love. I think that's the most important, just for your own mental health and just to make sure that you're creating content for as long as you can.
There you go. Beneeta.
Oh, I was literally going to say the exact same thing. So thanks for that. I think you need to figure out why you want to make content. Yes, obviously, like, love the content you're making, but figure it out, because are you making it for everyone? Making for publishers? Are you doing both? If you have more of a focus, and I'm not saying you need to have a niche, because I think people get so bogged down being like, oh, I need to have a niche, that you're not having fun anymore.
Right.
So don't do that. But
I've got to find a new way to include cooking in my board games.
Yeah. Just
why?
Just have an idea of what you want to make and create that content.
Excellent. Excellent advice from both of you. Thanks very much. And Erica, who are we seeing next week?
Next week we have Mr. Phil Walker Hardy coming on.
Cool.
It's been a long
Yeah.
time since we've seen Phil, so
Yeah, it's been a long time. Phil is great. Phil is like the king of making really good scoring systems. I feel that is Phil's real strength as a designer.
and he's got a whole lot on the Target shelf right now too. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
His games are great.
Mm-hmm. Super approachable games. So we'll talk about all stuff Phil next week. We'll see you here at the regular time, 9:00 p.m. Eastern time. I know, I'm sorry, Beneeta, that conflicts with your schedule. You can also watch Beneeta for the hour before and then come watch us for the hour after, okay?
Do that.
All right. Yeah, do that. That's fair. That's fine. All right. We'll see you all later. Thank you very much for coming today. All right. We'll talk to you soon.